on Saturday?
Yeah, it's a little different, you know. I mean, he does some things probably a little better than Dylan does with his legs. We all know that. We've seen it. UCLA is going to see it. They're going to have a plan for it. But offense is still the offense, and he's expected to run it. You know, he had valuable experience earlier in the year, and you know, I just kept calling plays. You know, whatever's on the sheet, I just kept calling plays, and then Saturday night, I just kept calling plays. You know, what he does with the ball may be a little bit different than what Dylan does with the ball, but I'm excited to see him play. You know, he's a good football player. He's a good quarterback. We got confidence. Our team is going to rally around him. I know that. You know, they did today out there at practice. It was another good Tuesday practice, and we're going to be excited about playing. And I know our team's going to rally around him. You know, my conversation with TJ is just, you know, just be yourself. Just be yourself. You just play your game. You know, he's not thrusted into a leadership point of view right now. You know, that's, you know, Dylan's still around. He's still going to be around. He's still going to be a tremendous leader that he is. And, you know, I think Coach Rule's message was spot on with, you know, everybody else needs to elevate, including me. You know, got to elevate what we're doing and let TJ worry about playing quarterback. Just what's his job. That's all. That's all he needs to worry about. And everybody needs to play, you know, to the best of their ability in order for him to be able to do that.
Are there cases where you do have a call sheet for one quarterback and have another call sheet for a backup?
Yeah, I'd say it's really never existed in my world, you know, so to speak. But you know, but that's part of coaching. You know, I mean, we're going to take what TJ does well, and we're probably going to feature that a little bit more. You know, I mean, we're a run-first team now. Everybody sees that. You know, Emmett's playing at an all-time level in my world for what a running back's doing. You know, and our O-line is settling in on what they do well. So, you know, that aspect of it probably won't change too much. But it's all about game planning and what our players that are playing for us can do well.
When it comes to TJ's arm strength, I mean, does he have, I mean, we've seen it, does he have the arm, you think, to take a few more shots down the field when they're called?
Yeah, well, he does, and there was those plays on Saturday. I mean, you know, he threw the ball down the field several times, and one should have been caught. You know, the receiver is a little late on the second one. It was more of an RPO. And this is a focus on ours right now is just the timing on it. You know, I think that's the biggest thing is you know, play specific. If it's RPO, it's probably coming out a little bit quicker. If it's play action, it's probably going to be a little bit more downfield. But we need to do a better job of that. Okay, but there were 8 opportunities downfield that we threw the ball down the field. I mean, we're going to do that. You know, and so those we have to be more successful with that. You know, Dane caught that one for a touchdown. It was an awesome catch. I think we got one PI, and then the rest of them were unsuccessful, and that was a combination of timing. That was a combination of not going and getting it, and then that was a combination of ball placement as well.
How do you see defenses doing something to Barney that's made it harder for him to make some of those plays downfield?
I wouldn't say that. It's just, you know, our progressive pass game is not great right now. You know, I mean, we're not able to sit back there and go through reads. That's when he, like earlier in the year, if you talk about the plays that he made, it was all progressive, you know, and so, you know, he was like, you know, we tried to take a shot to Luke down the field on the sidelines, and ball probably actually should have went there, you know, and then the progression is Corey coming across the field, you know, and Dylan just got spooked and spit it out there to Isaiah. But we got to continue to work on that. I mean, I get it. He needs the ball. You know, I've developed some screens and I've done some things, you know, to get him the ball, and that just hasn't turned out the way that we want it and expect it to turn out. I joked with him earlier that when he gets the ball on offense, he needs to pretend it's a punt return. Because we see what he can do with the ball, you know, and I'm trying to get creative to, you know, that one play, I know Coach referenced it, but we had a tunnel screen to him, and that thing he was walking in, you know, and so then we threw him another tunnel screen and missed the block. You know, there's things that we do to get him involved, and, you know, if you start forcing things too much, then that disrupts the flow of your offense.
You know, those older players on the offensive side like Turner and Dane, Emmett, how does, in your experience, their importance become magnified when you have a true freshman at quarterback?
Oh, it absolutely does. It was kind of one thing that I thought was missing last year when I got here. I got here about a year ago yesterday. And I do think we've improved in a lot of areas. Like Dylan tried to be that guy last year and he wasn't ready to do it, and that took a toll on him. And he had to hit that reset button when I got here, and I think he did a good job of that. But now I think we have good, strong, older presence guys. When TJ stepped into that huddle to start practice, those guys were excited in there, and they were slapping them around and kidding with them, joking with them, but they understand it, and they are older. Even Jacory's played a lot of ball, and Isaiah's played a lot of ball, Luke's played a lot of ball, and then all those old linemen are pretty old as well. So Coach Rill's done an amazing job with the team this week of getting that point across.
With Gunner being now out for the rest of the season, just how the tackles looked this week.
Yeah, Pritch was out there practicing. That's good news. That's good news, number one. And Turner's fighting hard. Love that kid, man. He doesn't care. He just wants to play ball. He's so experienced, and could be his last go around. So he's going to make the most of every single moment he's got. Whether it's right tackle, left tackle, doesn't matter. Tyler gets reps at, and I know Coach Rule talked about this yesterday. They just got to keep improving. And then Preston, was the backup left tackle out there today, and is only going to get better. So it's got to keep practicing and hope for the best.
What have you seen from UCLA, Coach, just their defense and then the way their coaching staff has kind of kept it together when they fired their coach so early in the season?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. You look at their first 3 games. I mean, they gave up quite a bit. They're two of those games were big rushing games. And they had fixed a lot of the run game problems, and then they had to go to Indiana, who does an excellent job of running the football. So. But the 2 previous games before that, they did a nice job of improving in the run game. Just overall, you can just see the energy on the field. The first few games, you didn't see a whole lot of energy, and then the last 3, there's been a whole lot of energy. So, they're coming off a bye week, and I'm sure they're going to be ready to go.
How impressive is it? I mean, that offensive coordinator's young. I mean, to be as successful as he's been, turn that thing around. I mean, as an offensive coordinator, how impressive is that?
Yeah, it is. I don't know Coach Neuheisel. I know Rick very well. I know his dad very well. And so you think that kid's probably grown up around it a lot. It probably was. He's probably like me. He wasn't a very good player, so you just put everything into the coaching aspect of it. But Coach's kid, been around it. I got a lot of respect and admiration for Coach Neuheisel, and so I would imagine his son is every bit of what he is. He's doing an incredible job, no doubt.
It's been a year since you've been calling plays here. What has the Big Ten been? What you expected has been different. What's been the experience trying to go up against some of these defenses compared to some of the other defenses you called against?
Well, it's what I expected. That night game in Lincoln was pretty awesome too. It was the first thing that was as good as an atmosphere as in college football. Period. It's just such a shame, man. Plus, in addition to, the Big Ten, yes, it's a great conference. Every game's hard. Every game's a single-digit game. Has been the last few weeks for us again. And so. But I think that's parity across college football too. And so if there's parity across college football, what do you think parity in the Big Ten is going to look like? And so got to be ready to go every week. That's college football, and that's why we're doing what we're doing.
How much more do you want to see this offense kind of grow and change? I know it's hard with Latif now being the quarterback instead of Dylan, but what more is there out there for this group to get, not only this year but in the coming years?
Yeah, you get into towards the end of the year, you start settling into kind of who you are. I mean, that's just a reality, But every game's different. It's things that aren't popping in one game that you think would pop. You go into the next game and you think things will start popping that you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So every game's different, and we're going to do our absolute best on getting a game plan together. That's, to me, I've always said this to you guys. I mean, to me, balance is spreading that ball around to everybody. I want Isaiah to have touches, Jacory, Luke, Dane, and then obviously Emmett just keeps getting stronger as the game goes on. 29 carries. I mean, I don't know how I can feed him anymore, and he's valuable in the pass game as well, and so love what that kid's doing. He's turned himself into one of the best backs in the country. But with that said, yes, he's going to get his carries. There's no doubt about that. Okay, what's the flow of the game, and where does the ball need to go? And my job is to distribute it.
Matt said that this time for Dylan would be very valuable, just stepping away for a couple weeks in the end of the regular season. What do you think he can learn from viewing the game in a different perspective?
I think that was a very valuable point that he made, and it's very true. And I didn't even think of it this way, but that kid's been playing football for a long time, and he hasn't really ever been to the point where he can just take a step back and watch it. I say this, he was in the meeting this morning asking questions and taking notes. He was out there at practice and talking to TJ in between every series. I mean, that's incredible. You know, I just think when he sees it, he'll know how he can, relay the information to TJ. I think it's going to be valuable. He's not going to be there on Saturday. That's going to be me and Glenn's job. But from Dylan's perspective, I just think it'll help the game slow down even more. When you see it from that perspective, I just think it's going to slow down even more for him. Next year will probably be better because of it. I know it's disappointing to him, but he'll be better because of it.
The added component of TJ making his start in essentially his hometown, what do you communicate with him, just keeping things one series at a time?
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be pretty special for him and his family, much like we talked about Emmett going to Minnesota. I mean, it's going to be special they don't have to travel to see him. You'll probably have a whole lot of people that are going to want to come to that game, but at the end of the day, don't let that affect you at the hotel. Don't let that affect you, from, just spending too much time with people and all that. When it's football, it's got to be football, right? And then, you get to the stadium, you don't really care about what's going on around you. I mean, you focus on what your job is. And I know he'll do that. He's a very calm, mature kid. Just even in that game, if he could step into that game Saturday night and not blink, it doesn't matter where we play. So if that stage right there was not too big for him, which it was not, then he will be just fine.
All good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Questions?
Hey, Coach, I know it's small consolation, but the first 2.5 quarters of that game, is that about as good a defense as you could have hoped your team would play?
Yeah, we prepared to play well. We felt like that really there was 2 drives in the game we didn't, and then we got to stop late in the game. So I don't know. I would say it was more than that, but we just didn't. We needed one more play, one more stop. There's no real consolation in playing good on defense and not winning. So the objective is to win. But obviously we knew it was a hell of a challenge, and I think our players stepped up to that.
How do you think you guys took away their receivers as well as you did? There's no one else that's done that all season the way that you guys did.
I think we have very good players in the secondary. I think it's a testament to those guys that play. They do a very good job of our guys do a very good job of executing the system and covering themselves in areas that they need to. I give credit to our players. I mean, we knew going in that we had a challenging system to defend, a challenging group of players to defend, and we wanted to make sure that they couldn't figure out, however they were making ways to try to figure out our coverages, and they go to extreme lengths to try to figure out what we're doing. And so the system we put in place to make sure that they couldn't figure out what we were playing and they couldn't tell the quarterback, I think, is a testament to our players.
After a tough start, it seems like UCLA made a jump sort of in that second month of the season. What do they show you on offense that's going to be a challenge?
They run the ball. They're really doing a really nice job running the ball. In that running game includes the quarterback as a designed runner, also includes the quarterback as a scrambler. If you look at the Penn State game, we probably had 80 yards in critical scramble yards. He scrambles on third downs for first down. He's athletic as hell, tall, fast. So they want to run the football, and that's just kind of really everybody we've seen this year that's kind of been their mantra. So that's what they've been doing well. I think they're averaging close to 180 yards a game rushing since they made the change at coordinator. So we're gonna have to do a good job of defending the run and knowing where the quarterback is when he drops back.
What have you seen from Nico? He was a college football playoff starter a year ago, obviously a new team.
Yeah.
How has he evolved at UCLA?
Yeah, I didn't really watch him last year just because we didn't have really crossover, and I focused most of my attention on what he's done this year under the current system and the current play callers. Obviously, we have some intel with Coach Eck was there with him and knows him well. But just like I said, I think that he can make all the throws if he knows what the coverage is. He can throw the ball deep to the outside. He can throw the ball deep to the on the comebacks and the digs. So the intermediate passing game that you see a lot of quarterbacks struggle with, he does a nice job with. And so we're going to have to do a good job, like we have to do every week with a quarterback like that, of muddying the picture pre-snap and making sure that when the ball's snapped, the post-snap coverage looks different than it was pre-snap.
Matt mentioned he thought some guys on defense played their best game Saturday. How do you balance like the disappointment with also, building guys up like with the good film that was there?
We have a young defense. I think collectively, you look at a lot of these players. Donnie Jones had a great game. He's a freshman. Rex keeps playing well. He's a freshman. Petchak played well. He's a freshman. Williams Onaweri plays well. He's a redshirt freshman. Shavers played well. He's a second-year player. So it's when you're a process program, and I'm a victim of this, or I'm guilty of this probably more than anybody, just because I'm too damn competitive. But like, you got to get on to the next play, and we've got to get on to the next game, and we just got to focus on getting better, which I think we have through the year with the way Coach Rule, the way we practice, the level of physicality we're asked to practice with. Even on a day like today, we're out there thudding and tackling and taking on the run. I think you're going to continue to see progress in our players, and that's really the objective. You want to win as many games as you can. That's the primary objective, but you also want to be improving as the year goes along, which I think we have, and we'll continue to do that.
How much credit do you give to the veterans on this defense that are helping the young players on this defense really come along?
Yeah, I think we've got very good leadership, specifically in each room. Like, you've got Singleton, Buford, and obviously Sierra in the secondary room helping some of these younger players that are playing for us. You've got, Javen Wright, in the linebacker room, kind of helping come along, whether it's Shavers or whether it's Merritt playing or now Bowers playing some. Javen really played really well the other night, physical, had an incredibly physical play on their lineman and knocked him out of the game legally, but that was about as physical a play as I've seen. I think that leadership is, they take the message of what we're trying to do, what Coach Rule is preaching, what I'm preaching, and take it into the locker room, support it. We've had, some significant success in certain areas that you've got to keep pounding on, and then we just got to keep working on fixing the run defense. So,
Even though you guys gave up what you gave up, did you feel like, was there encouragement that you didn't give up the 60-yard run against USC?
I guess there was encouragement that we played to our standard as much as we did. Like I said, defending that offense, that personnel, that system of trying to figure you out. So I think that there were some runs we'd like to have back. Really, it's the quarterback runs that kind of hurt us in some critical areas, but we just got to make one more play and one of those third downs at the end and get the ball back to our offense.
You're at the end of a stretch where you play six games in 6 weeks. What are you seeing right now from your defensive guys as far as their eagerness to to play this game when
I would say the first thing the first testament you get of that is how do they show up on Sunday? And if you look at us last Sunday, our guys are flying around after playing Northwestern after a really physical game, practicing. Like, we practice on Sunday and we go for about 30 minutes of full live stuff, and they were flying around. And then we came out, obviously after a disappointing result this past Saturday, and this Sunday they were flying around, and today we're in pads and knocking the hell out of each other. So I said to Snow today, I said, our guys are flying around. They're giving us everything they have. All we can do is keep pouring into them and focusing on the process and getting better and making that one play so that the result ends up being what it is. But if we focus on just continuing to be more physical, defending the run, controlling this quarterback, that's just kind of what the message has got to be.
How difficult is it finding tendencies in a play caller who's only been doing it for about a month?
You got to use what you can use. Heck, they only got 9 games on me, so he's 4 behind. He's 4 behind me, so as far as that's concerned, a lot of stuff, you're figuring it out as the game's going on. So we feel like we got a decent beat on them in terms of what they want to do. But really, at the end of the day, it comes down to our players versus their players, and our players playing more physical. Our players, standing up for each other, playing for each other, and finding a way to make one more play.
What improvements would you like to see from the QB run game, just how you guys defend the QB run?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys all understand this. You guys are all experienced reporters, but there's 11 guys out there on the field. We have 11 on defense. The second that the quarterback becomes a viable runner, the matchup's even. So what you're always trying to do then is you're trying to kind of get a half of a player towards somebody so you can get that extra half a player towards the quarterback. Because if you take your post safety out of the middle of the field and he's got the quarterback, then it turns into, bombs over Baghdad and they're just throwing the ball all over you. So you're constantly trying to manipulate, that factor, because the quarterback as a runner is an equalizer. It's an equalizer in the run game because you got all the gaps filled. When the quarterback meshes the ball, he creates another gap that you've got to then find somebody. And you look at the other night, they were doing that with their quarterback, and we were bringing the corner, and he was then flipping the ball out to number one. Well, then we not figured it out. We adjusted, and they did that, and Marshall jumped back and made the play. So it's a constant cat and mouse game of, who's going to have the extra guy? Is it a blitz? Is it a run stunt? Are we going to show pressure to try to get him out of it? Are we going to, so there's a lot of things you have to do. And then credit to them that, they really hadn't run him out in the middle of the field as much. They were pretty much a red zone run team. But the way we were taking away the running back and tackling the running back like we were, that we really gave him no option. And even on that touchdown, we had a guy there for him. He just didn't make the tackle. So credit to that kid for making that play.
You had a chance to go up against Latif, in the offseason and stuff. What sort of stands out about just his makeup and has it impressed you being on the other side of the ball?
Yeah, I would. I'm the defensive coordinator. I don't want to be a jerk, but I'm not going to comment on any of our offensive players. I think he's a great kid. I think he's practiced well. He's given us some headaches, So I think he's going to step up and get coached by our offensive staff and do a great job. And it's our job as on defense to grab the rope and do whatever we got to do to make the game easier for him. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Where you're close with Dylan, I mean, how rough has the last few days been for him, and how do you guys move forward as an offense?
Of course, it's been rough for him, being that he's been out. It had an effect on all of us, of course, knowing that's our boy. And just if it was any one of our teammates, we'll feel some kind of way for him. But being that that's my boy, I feel bad for him that it's happened to him. But I feel like God don't make mistakes, and I feel like he's going to come back stronger, and we're going to have an even better season next year.
What have you seen from TJ this week as he's stepped up into that role?
Just so far, just a change in his focus. You know what I'm saying? Today he was, he's always dialed in, but it's like a switch. Like, hey, I got to run the show now, so I can see. I seen it today, and we're pretty confident in him this week.
What's your chemistry like with him?
Pretty good. Yeah, of course, we always throw together. We are, him and Dylan is always getting throws with us and the receiver, so I'm pretty used to throwing with him. And now it's time for him to step up, and we're ready to work with him and see what we can do.
Have you seen defenses try adjust some things in covering you that's taken away some of the plays that you were making earlier in the year?
Yeah, I see it a couple times, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I just do whatever I can to help the team win. So if I got to draw attention to some guys to get other guys open, hey, I'm willing to do whatever. And, yeah, it's fine with me, so. Yeah.
You had success as a true freshman, so what does it take? What do you see in TJ that is similar to maybe like some stuff from you and Dylan a year ago that allowed you to be successful?
Just for him, I would say, for me, I would say playing with guys like Maul and Nair, they were older guys, you know what I'm saying? Learn from them, and then of course him being able to learn from a quarterback like Dylan, and knowing that Dylan is going to prep him before the game, talk to him, make sure he's right mentally before the game. He's gonna go in with the most confidence because we're gonna prepare at a high level this week, and just him talking to Dylan, getting comfortable with the plays, and he'll be good for this week. I feel like he'll be prepared and we'll be confident in him. So
What's TJ like in the huddle? What was he like in that situation that he got thrown into in the second half Saturday?
He said he was ready. He said he was ready. So that's what I took. We was ready for him. We was just like, hey, we got to make it happen. So he was in there, and we sort of knew the plays. You know what I'm saying? So he would say a play, and we would just execute it. It probably looked a little weird because it was, of course, his focus. Probably first plays in. We were dialed in. We know the calls. So once he says certain things, we know what it should look like. So that helped a lot this past weekend. But going to the next few weeks, I feel like it'll look smooth and it'll run smooth.
One more, or good? Good, all right.
Thank y'all.
I know you played some last year, Keelan, but you played the full complement of Big Ten teams this year, and you're in, game out. What is that grind like? What is it like facing Big Ten offensive lines week in and week out?
Yeah, it's really difficult, especially being a starter. But I like it because it just I get to improve each week and challenge the best.
How do you feel like you've grown in this season? How can you feel yourself getting better as a player, game by game, facing all these guys?
My technique has gotten better. I feel like getting a better handle of the game, understanding what's going on. Before then, I didn't know what to do. I was out there doing what I was told. But now I'm getting a feel for it, making moves on the fly.
How excited are guys to go from the West Coast like you to play in LA, and you have a lot of family that'll be coming out to the game this week?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very happy to be back out there. And I'm very excited to see my family back out there. I think I got grandma coming out, and then my family that's here coming out too.
Have you been to the Rose Bowl before?
No, this is my first time. I'm very excited to see what it's like.
Other questions from you?
What is the challenge of guarding their quarterback, defending their quarterback, Nico?
Just trying to stop him from running. From the film, he looks like very elusive back, running quarterback. So as long as we stop him from running, I think we'll be good there.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all. Have a good day.
What's up, guys?
Guys got a freshman quarterback starting this week. As a veteran, how important is it that you kind of keep him composed and get it through a game like Saturday?
Yeah, no doubt. It just comes down to, talking with him during the week, making sure that, we're doing everything on our part, preparation-wise, to help him out. And then it's really just, every man on the field, whether it be, offense, defense, or special teams, just doing their most to just make him comfortable. Just doing your job a little bit better for him, just to have him settle in better in the game.
What's your impression of UCLA's defense and just the pass rush that they present?
Yeah, they're a solid defense, tough, play hard. They've kind of been rallying under their interim head coach, but, it's a good challenge on the road like that, playing in the Rose Bowl. Couldn't think of a better opportunity ahead of us in this one.
Henry, what kind of composure did you see? What did TJ bring to the field in what was, I think anybody would say a tough spot to come in the middle of a game like that?
Yeah, no doubt. He showed he's a competitor. He didn't back down. He got his number called and he was ready. And so it just, again goes into the, the type of program that, us and Coach Holgorsen are trying to build here where, no matter what spot you may be in, just preparing all week like you are the starter, like you are going to go out there and play 60 snaps so that, if you have to, you're ready.
I know Emmett takes the carries, but how much pride do you as a lineman take in him having 1,000 yards already?
Yeah, a lot. There's always room for more. On one hand, he's at 1,000, but on the other hand, he could be at 1,100 by now. So we're always just looking for improvement.
Is there, a sense of do you appreciate how the game plan is tilted toward the run here in the last 2 or 3 weeks? Have you enjoyed that identity?
Yeah, definitely have. I think our room's, really gotten behind that. And Emmett's great too. He's really good at, communicating with us and, his needs for what we need to do to help him and vice versa. And so he's really, open and responsive to hey, can you do this a little bit better? Can you do that? He's great with all that.
TJ's also a runner. How much could that help maybe loosen a few things up with the way teams defend you now that you could have a quarterback and a running back that are options back there?
Yeah, no doubt. He's an athlete for sure. He showed it on Saturday. So, I'm sure they're, back home game planning for right now. But, just always having that, other option, whether it be a design run or a scramble or, whatever it may be. The threat of his legs is always there.
What kind of toughness have you seen from some guys in your room? Pritchett trying to come back this week, Corcoran through what he's battled through to keep going at it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of great role models in that room like Turner. We're like Teddy Nebraska, two guys that have, just been through it injuries-wise and, are still out there battling every single day, just for love of the game and love of their teammates. If it wasn't for that, they probably would have hung it up a while ago. But, Turner's great to have in there because once you know what he's been through and you see how hard he plays, he's a great role model to have in that room.
How have you seen Grant Bricks and Talmua develop? Because Coach Bull said they might have a chance this week if somebody goes down or something like that.
Yeah, they're both, again, two guys that have really come a long way and, really have taken that next step this year, especially preparation-wise. And, kind of the same thing I was saying about TJ. Those are two guys that are going to prepare all week like they're going to go out and play 60 snaps so that if they, if their number gets called in the game, they're ready.
You guys are playing 2 opponents now with interim head coaches. You've been on the other side of that. What can you does that give you some insight maybe into what their motivation is for some of those teams that you'll be facing the next couple weeks? Yeah,
these cases are a little weird because UCLA, they're a great example of things going well during an interim head coach, which we might not have been on that side of the stick when I was in that situation. And so it really just comes down to watching the tape, seeing what they do, seeing how hard they play, seeing just what they try to attack us with and just finding ways to battle back against that. I wouldn't read too much into the interim head coach thing because those guys are out there playing hard and they're winning. So at the end of the day, we got to be ready for that.
If you can kind of go back to the conversation about Corcoran and just being around him for all the years that you've had and watching his path this season, what kind of feelings does that bring about from you, and like what specifically have you seen from him that's impressed you this year?
Yeah, just his ability to keep showing up. I mean, at this point in the season, nobody's bodies feel good, but he's still out there every day. Had that terrible hamstring injury last year. Just fighting back from that this whole offseason, just watch the guy fight and battle every single day to get back, And he ended up coming back from the hamstring early, just doing everything he possibly can to get ready to go on Saturday.
Anything else for Henry? Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, guys.
Questions for Luke?
I knew really close with Dylan. Just how heartbreaking was that getting the news on Saturday?
Yeah, it sucked. I took some responsibility for that, and I was really sad when that happened, and hard watching that play back over again. And I felt terrible for him after the game, and had a moment with him, just hugged him. Yeah, but TJ's gonna do great this week. I mean, he's a great quarterback, and we all knew he was gonna start here eventually. It's just a little quicker than we thought.
How have you seen the rest of the team rally around him, whether that was, when he went in the game in the second half on Saturday or the past few days here?
I mean, it's a lot to take on as a freshman, especially when you don't expect it. We just all rallied behind him, told him we believed in him, and I just try to remind him of that game against Akron at night when he went crazy, because that's the type of player he is. That's what he can do, and this whole program believes in him.
That whole idea that everybody can do their job just a little bit better, around him, that Coach Rule has been talking about this week. Like, what is that? How do you put that into action from your position?
It's just the intensity which we practice and play. Like, we have to play a little bit faster. We have to play a little bit harder just to make things easier for him, just to get a little bit more of an edge in all phases of the game, just to make life easier for TJ.
Just last year's USC game or UCLA game and how it felt, does that linger at all in the back of your guys' mind, or did the Latif being in there shake all of the past stuff loose?
You mean during last game, or?
The way that you guys lost to UCLA last year, does that linger in the back of your mind, or did the stuff with TJ Latif and having to change quarterbacks just kind of shake all the past loose, and that's just in the past?
I mean, we're going in this game remembering what happened last year, and with a chip on our shoulder. It's going to be a physical game, and TJ being quarterback is not going to change that.
You excited to play out in the Rose Bowl out in LA?
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, my sister lives in Phoenix with her husband, so they're going to make it, so I get to see her. So that's exciting.
Emmett went over 1,000 this last week.
That's awesome.
Just how much have you enjoyed being a part of that? And I even like watching it back on film is interesting. You probably see some stuff that he did that you obviously can't see while you're in the middle of battling.
Mm-hmm. He's amazing, and I've enjoyed the past 4 years with him, just seeing him improve as a player. And he's my roommate too, and just being able to be on the field with him, I'm gonna fight for him. I know he's gonna run hard for me. And I remember freshman year, he was just always saying just give me the ball, just give me a chance. I'm gonna go crazy, and he's getting his chance now, and he's going crazy.
Can you characterize, I guess, how even more so motivated the entire offense is now to perform and produce without Dylan for him?
Yeah, Dylan spoke in front of the team today. He's emotional. He wished he could be out there with us, and he's got TJ's back too. He believes in him probably the most out of anybody. We all see what TJ can do, and we're all rallying behind him.
Hey, it's been Dan Holgorsen mentioned it today. It's been a year since he took the job last November. How you've benefited, I think, to some degree from Holgorsen being here. How have you enjoyed being a big part of his offense as a tight end and as a playmaker?
I mean, it's been awesome. Remember last week he like put in a play for me, and I was like, "Appreciate you, coach." And then he said right back, "I appreciate you." And he takes care of me in that aspect, and I'm just gonna keep playing hard. And I know he's gonna put me in the right positions.
Have you seen the offense maybe change and grow in those 12 games since he's taken?
Just getting used to his playbook, and it just can keep getting better each week. Just getting used to what he calls and the tempo changes and all that. And one more thing, Bible study. We do a Player Live Bible study every week, and each week we have a memory verse. This week's was Mark 13:13, and you'll be hated by all for my name's sake, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. Thank you, guys.
Questions?
Sean, what is the challenge this week with UCLA's offense and kind of what they've been doing well the last few games?
I mean, they have good quarterback. Watching them, I feel like the offense runs through him. You know what I'm saying? They have some talented receivers, and they have some pretty good backs as well. So,
How much? Sean, what'd you think of the way that the whole secondary played in coverage Saturday? And Coach Rule came in here and said that there were some guys who played their best football at Nebraska in that game. How does that square up with what you saw on film?
I feel like guys was out there playing hard. You know what I'm saying? Everyone was doing their job collectively, and I mean, as you watch the tape, I mean, you see guys flying around, you see guys making plays, having fun with each other. We just came up short. So, I feel like that's a good thing because you see a lot of people improving, and we can't do nothing but look forward to the next game.
How much does last year's loss to UCLA serve as a motivator for this?
It's an extreme motivator. I mean, you got that little itch, you know what I'm saying, on the back of your head. You waiting on that game because obviously they came in our house and we ended up losing. So I mean, this is a game that we've been waiting for, and we're ready to go out there and go play.
How much is left to play for you guys these last 3 games when you kind of zone in on UCLA, Penn State, and Iowa? For you, a guy that's been around, how big are these next few games?
I mean, it's extremely big because I mean, shoot, we got 3 more. We got 3 more games, guaranteed games left, and how you finish the season, that's just who you are, and you know what I'm saying. So, I know a lot of schools, they'll probably say, "Oh, you got 3 losses or whatever," and they'll end up getting up. But nah, we got 3 more games left. You know what I'm saying? We are who we are at the end of the day, and we can go out there and fight.
TJ a little more difficult maybe to defend than Dylan is, obviously with his legs.
Say it one more time.
How different is TJ, or maybe difficult is he to defend with the use of his legs?
I'm looking forward to see TJ this Saturday. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm looking forward to see him. You know what I'm saying? He's young. He's gonna be in his hometown, and obviously his legs can bring a little bit more to the offense than usual. But man, I can't wait to see the young fella play. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What do you know about the Rose Bowl venue, and what's it going to mean for you to go out and have a chance to play out there?
Yeah, this is my first time going to the Rose Bowl. I mean, but you know what I'm saying, grass is grass to me, but I can't wait to go out there and play.
What can you guys do as a defense or defensive players to support TJ in this spot?
We got to play better. You know what I'm saying? We got play. We just got to play better, man. We got to stop the run, stop the pass. What we've been doing, we got to do more of. You know what I'm saying? We got to create more turnovers. And so as a young guy for TJ, we got to make it easier on him. You know what I'm saying? So, defense just got to do more.
This might be an odd question, but do you guys take multiple sets of cleats to test out what works best for you when you're on a surface like that? When you go out to UCLA, or do you just take one set with one length?
Well, I got one question for you. Is there a difference, like, with the field, like, there? No, I don't know. I'm just asking you. I don't know.
When you guys play on grass, do you guys take multiple sets to see which one works best for you?
We practice on grass. So, I mean, I feel like, grass is grass. So I'm not sure with Jay Terry. I don't know. We probably will take multiple sets of cleats,
See, I said it was an odd.
Grass is grass.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you.